Hey guys, welcome to today's video. I'm excited for this one. I feel like I say that for every video, but I'm excited for this one because I'm gonna be doing my makeup. It's just gonna be a really casual sort of like get ready with me of how I do my makeup every single day. So if you're wondering what products I use, what techniques I use, and basically just what the hell's on my face whenever it's looking like this, you're in the right place. Stay tuned, let's get right into it. Okay, so I am just gonna be doing like my everyday, super basic kind of look. I usually always, even when I'm going out or something, I'll do like some variation of this look. Like I might darken up a couple things. But for the most part, this is like what I like to stick to. I'm just putting Carmex on my lips to moisturize while I do the rest of my face. I've done a couple videos, a couple of makeup videos here on my channel, and they've just been to like, I don't know, I just want this to be a lot more casual and just kind of show you guys what I do literally on a day-to-day basis. So for foundation, I have a couple things that I want to show you guys. Honestly, I'm not super picky about my foundation just because my concealer and powder are like my ride or dies. I can basically use them with really any foundation, and those two products, which I'll show you here in a bit, I can just rely on those. So I'm not too picky about my foundation. That being said, I do have a few that I really like. So recently I've been using this Milani, what the hell is this? Conceal and Perfect, and I just use this because it's like super dark, and right now I have a spray tan. This is a super full coverage foundation, so I am just gonna mix a few different guys, just because that's like the story of my life, honestly, is trying to mix some sort of concoction that will match the current color of my body. I'm gonna mix that with this. This is the It Cosmetics CC Cream. This is in the shade Fair. It's usually too dark for me when I'm my fairest of fair, but it's a little bit too light for me right now, so I'm gonna mix it with that darker Milani foundation. If you are a pale princess like I normally am without a spray tan, to the point where, like, you know, brands don't often make foundations that are light enough for you, I have found this Kat Von D Lock-It foundation in the shade Light 41, so this is a neutral shade. This is super pale, and they actually make this in a completely white shade, I believe. So this is awesome for mixing. A lot of times, like when I don't have a tan, I'll mix the It Cosmetics with this, and they're like super full coverage. If I'm looking over here, it's just because I have my mirror set up right here. Anyways, so in the nature of this being a pretty casual video, my skin is like not in good shape right now for my skin. I usually have fairly okay skin. I've dealt with like cystic acne and stuff, just like hormonally, but usually I don't break out too bad. That being said, I'm about to get my period, so I'm gonna chalk this situation up to that. Okay, so what I use to blend that in is just the like original beauty blender. Well, this is the black one, but I'm so sad right now because it looks dirty. It's just stained, like I did wash it. But if you use the Beauty Blender Solid Cleanser, I'm not kidding you guys, it will get this like squeaky clean every single time. I use it to clean up my beauty blenders, my brushes, everything. That stuff is amazing. And make sure you get the solid though, because the liquid just doesn't do, it's not as good. You can see that little foundation concoction I put together is pretty full coverage. It covered up almost everything. Okay, so I would consider myself to be somewhat of a like concealer connoisseur. I love trying different concealers. It's like my favorite makeup product to purchase. That sounds kind of weird, but by far the 100% best concealer on the market, in my opinion, at least for what I'm looking for in a concealer and what I think a lot of people are. I'm sure you guys have heard of this before. It's the Tarte Shape Tape. I do use the same shade. You'll see it looks super light because I'm tanner. I do use the same shade when I'm tan, just because I like a really highlighted look. If you were using it to do anything other than like highlight, I would definitely choose something closer to your overall like skin shade. And I'm sort of just applying it to these areas where I would like to highlight. Yeah, this concealer is just magic. Like honestly, it's very full coverage. If that's not something you like, then stay away from this. But I absolutely love it. It lasts forever, it doesn't crease. I do set it with a powder, but especially with the powder I use, this stuff is like bulletproof, I swear. The entire look that I do, basically whenever I wear makeup, is fairly high coverage, and Basically, I'm the type of girl where I'm either gonna wear makeup or I'm not. And if I'm wearing makeup, it's gonna be full coverage. We're gonna have a full ass beat. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I would say at least half of the time I'm not wearing any makeup at all. So when I do wear makeup, I like doing the damn thing, you know? Okay, so the powder that I use is the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. This stuff, I've been through probably like, God, I don't know, 5 or 6 of these. I've tried so many different setting powders, and this is just my absolute favorite. I was just blending out the concealer. I like to make sure there's no creases in that concealer and then go in right away and set it. So I am baking, basically just applying a very decent amount of this stuff in the areas where I really want to lock it in. Pretty much just where I applied that concealer. Okay, now I really need to clean my brushes, but I'm living in a damn hotel right now. Give me a break. But I really love these EcoTools brushes. I believe, yeah, EcoTools brushes. I picked these up when I was actually traveling just out of Target because I lost my brush or something. But I am obsessed, you guys. I got this one which I used for powder, and this one which I use for my bronzer, and they are so freaking soft. So what I do with this, y'all are gonna think I'm like way extra, but I do use a lot of powder, but it doesn't look like it is the thing. Like the finished product is not all cakey and powdery, at least in my opinion. I load up that brush, okay? We locked, we loaded, and I just go for it, okay? So this is basically like a subtle version of baking the entire face, but it's not, I mean, like I'm setting it like this, and then I'm brushing it off right away. And at the same time, I'm also brushing away that initial bake that I did. Okay, my face is looking a little bit paler than my body, especially on camera. That's mainly the lighting situation. We'll bronze it up though. But I wanted to say, you guys ask me all the time about my makeup staying on when I work out, because I do sometimes work out in my makeup. No, it's not the best thing for your skin, but sometimes I just like that little boost of confidence in the gym. But I really would contribute my makeup lasting through workouts, even when I'm sweating a ton, to that little technique. So with that Shape Tape concealer and then the Laura Mercier powder, specifically how I apply that powder to lock everything in, I really do think that that technique locks everything in. Like I said, lock and load it, girl. Okay, now I'm going in with this brush to bronze up my face. Now you guys, I have tried so many bronzers in my time, but for whatever reason, I always come back to my NYC Sunny Bronzer. I go through these like crazy. They don't sell them at Target anymore like they used to, so I literally ordered this on Amazon, a pack of 2. I don't know if it's discontinued or what, but I just absolutely love this stuff. Rather than trying to tell you some sort of technique when it comes to contouring and bronzing, I will just let you observe because it's pretty self-explanatory and every face shape is different. So I just do what I have found works for mine. So I'm all bronzed up. This lighting is kind of throwing the situation off, but I promise you guys it looks good in person. If you guys get spray tans like I do, pro tip, do not neglect your part. I always take a little bit of bronzer on a shadow brush or whatever brush really, and go up in my part. Let's move on to blush. Blush is something that I do sometimes switch up. I've found that Tarte definitely makes my favorite formula blushes. I'm gonna be mixing these 2 colors. It's a little bit peachy and a little bit of pink. This was one of their holiday palettes. It's actually something I purchase every single year during the holidays, is Tarte's blush palette that they come out with, just because it comes with so many, you know? And it really, like I said, it's my favorite formula. Okay, so for my favorite part of makeup in general, the highlight, I basically switch up what products I use like all the time. But there are a couple that I've found that I just are like my ride or die, tried and true. I absolutely love them. So the first one though I want to show you guys is just the Balm Mary Luminizer. This is super popular. This is the packaging. Looks like this. Now the reason I wanted to show you this is simply because this works really well for me even when I don't have a tan. You can see it's pretty, like, it's a nice champagne, but it's pretty pale. It works really well when I do have a tan. It's just a lot more intense, which I do like. But when I'm pale and don't have a spray tan, it makes me glow, you know? So what I'm gonna use, because I do have a tan, is Becca Opal. This I'm just absolutely obsessed with. Similar undertone, but this one's a little bit more bronze, I guess you could say. I really love this brush too. It's by Say Me. I get it at Namie's, which is a beauty supply store in LA. This is 2.1 by Say Me. Okay, y'all, we're getting real up close and personal for these eyes. So most people, I feel like, do their brows before their shadow, but for whatever reason, it just feels unnatural to me. So I always do my shadow first. Now the two palettes that I use absolutely every single day are the Lorac Pro To Go. I love this shadow palette so freaking much. I have actually purchased this like 3 separate times, like just for this color. I wish they sold it as a single. I do really enjoy this pearl shade also, but I really just love the formula of these. They're so extremely blendable and creamy. And then I also use the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye palette. Sorry it's such a mess, it is very well loved. But the main reason I use this palette is for this matte white shade. I really like it, and I sometimes use this as well. So I always start with the matte white and I just hit the inner corners with that. I like a very highlighted look, if you couldn't tell. Now there are plenty of days where I actually just don't put anything on the lid of my eye, but today I'm gonna go ahead and just use this matte like cream color, just for the sake of making it pop a little bit more. Okay, for the crease, I'm using that Cafe shade out of the Lorac Pro To Go palette. I feel like this is just so, it really like complements blue eyes. But I just hit the crease with that. It really does blend beautifully. I also use a smaller brush to go under the lower lash line with that same shade. Okay, so because I do have a spray tan, I'm gonna go in with the shade here. Just, it's a tiny, tiny, tiny bit darker and a little bit more cool toned. So just to sort of darken up the crease here. Adding eyebrows in a minute is going to really bring the eye look together. And then I take whatever powder's left over on my beauty blender and just sort of sharpen up that line there. At this point, we shall take a moment to appreciate brows and lips and how they really bring a bitch to life, because I look so crazy right now. Okay, for my brows, I use the Anastasia Brow Definer. I really like this stuff. I use it in the shade Blonde. As far as my brow routine goes, it's kind of like just what works for me. It's not necessarily like, I'm not in love with my brows. I don't think I've found like the best brow routine that I could possibly do, but this just kind of works for me, so it's what I do. But with brows also, I'm always trying out new products, but this is just something that I've been using for probably at least 6 months now. Okay, so I've sort of laid down like the shape of the brow that I want, but because that product is like a wax, I like to go in and set it with a powder just to look a bit more natural. I hate using that word because ain't nothing natural about any of this, but yeah, so I actually use, this is like the first brow product I ever used in my life. I used to use the like wax that's in here also, but this is by e.l.f. It's just their brow powder duo. Oops. Yeah, I really like it. I continue to repurchase. I think it's like $3 or something. And I just like the powder in it. So I just go in with a little brush and very lightly set this. It sort of helps. I do this, like I used to do this on clients too, just because it sort of helps with blending any harsh lines that can kind of come about when you're using something like a pencil or really any sort of wax product. Okay, so to finish off the eyes, I actually, on a day-to-day basis, I don't use any liner or false lashes or anything like that. Honestly, it's primarily because my eyes are really sensitive. I used to get eyelash extensions, and after like a year of getting them, I randomly grew an allergy to the glue that's used, all different kinds of glues. I tried so many different ones, and I also grew an allergy, sort of, like my eyes are just super sensitive to normal like duo lash glue, and then even like eyeliner. So when I use like a liquid liner or something, my eyes, I just can't keep it on for a long amount of time. So I just stick to curling my lashes and doing a mascara. This is my Tarte eyelash curler, which I need to clean off. But this is definitely my favorite lash curler I've found. If I'm going out and I do want more dramatic eyes, I'll take a pencil, a really creamy pencil liner, and sort of smudge it all across the top lash line, just to sort of darken things up, make my lashes look a little bit fuller. But on a day-to-day, that's all I do. Okay, for mascara, these are the two I've been loving. There's the L'Oreal Lash Paradise, or Voluminous Lash Paradise, and then I've also been using the Maybelline Lash Sensational. Again, I switch it up pretty frequently with mascara, but I do like these two. I mess up my mascara more often than not. I'll get it on my eyelids, so let's see how we do here. Okay, so eyes are done. One thing that I also like to do, especially when I have a spray tan, is highlight my collarbones. I just use whatever's left over on the brush from that Becca Opal though. Whoa, girl. Okay, so to finish it off finally, I'm going to be using this lip color, which you guys ask me about all the time. I just like to, like, honestly, 99% of the time I am just wearing like a pinky nude color. This has been one of my favorites. It's not my favorite formula ever for liquid lipstick, but I really like the color, so I wear it. But it's the Too Faced Melted Matte Liquefied Matte Longwear Lipstick in the shade Child Star. Looks like this. I like it also when I don't have a tan, which is nice, but I will go ahead and apply that. So everything looks kind of washed out, I guess, just looks like. Let me zoom in, see if I can show you what that looks like. So that's the color. It's very nude, but it's what I like on a day-to-day basis. So that's what the lips look like. All right, y'all, there we have it. This is my everyday makeup routine. Basically, if I'm wearing makeup, it's gonna be something like this. So I hope this answered all of you guys' questions. Seriously, this has been like my #1 asked question is, what lip do you wear? What, you know, what's on your eyes? What do you use for your foundation and stuff like that? So I'm glad I was finally able to address all of those questions. If you do have any other makeup questions, feel free to leave them down below and I'll try to get back to all of you guys. If you are interested also, I know I mentioned a couple times I'm like constantly trying out new products and stuff. If you're interested in maybe me starting to do like a monthly favorites, incorporating makeup, but then like also everything else, so fitness related stuff, food related stuff, if you're interested in videos like that, let me know. I'm sort of bummed about this lighting. I just feel like it's kind of washing me out and not showing all the colors and stuff in the dimension, but it's what I'm working with, so it'll have to do. Okay guys, I think that is going to conclude this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.